there is no way you about to cause a divorce because of turkey sausage. What is wrong with you and what's going on? Like, what's the bottom line here?
You
Like, what is really going on?
Get
Like, he was
someone,
like walking like a
a
ghost. Like, it
zombie.
was like he was present
Bye
but
bye.
absent. And you can
I'm
tell
trying
that
to
he was like
grieve.
trying to
Somebody
process all
walked
this.
by, spoke to me. They said I didn't speak back. I probably looked. I don't know if I spoke because I was in a gaze. Next thing I know, they sent a Facebook DM to my team about, oh, he's arrogant, and they were gonna come to your church. They're not now because you didn't even speak to us. I'm like, wow, like, and I was like, man, people have no idea.
Yeah.
Abandonment
Yeah.
in any form of fashion, it triggers. You weren't here for me. You're not listening to me. You don't support me. Why is it that I've got to do it all by myself? Well, hey, I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Couple of Destiny.
Our life, our journey, our truth.
And we're so excited to have you connected on today. Make no mistake about it, we are geeked to have you here and on this platform because for us, your presence means everything. We're grateful for all of you that let us know every single week that this is being a blessing to you, and it blesses us to bless you. So we're grateful, right, babe? I'm telling you, it's a blessing. We see so many of you around town. We see you around the country, and you always tell us how this platform is blessing your lives. So we don't take that for granted, and we truly appreciate the opportunity to pour into you. Now, while you're here, make sure that you like and you comment.
And that you subscribe and share with your friends and family.
Absolutely. We want you to do that because for us, we want to get this word out to as many people as possible. And we want to create community with you. So as you're commenting, let us know thoughts you have. You just be honest about it. Let us know if there's something you want us to address. We are here for you, and we appreciate just the opportunity to pour into you. So we appreciate it. Go to your social media platforms and follow Dr. Steph at Dr. Steph Walker. Follow me at Joseph Walker 3. And of course, get our book. It's called Becoming a Couple of Destiny. Check it out. I promise you it'll bless you. And of course, also, the latest book that I wrote was called Pursue the Purpose. Go check it out as well. We appreciate you. And you know what? Just go out there and explore. Check out everything. We thank you for that. All right. So today we're going to talk about like communication 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, because it's really about something that people don't really talk about.
Okay.
Triggers trauma. What are the triggers in your relationship?
Yeah.
And what's the trauma that informs it? And
or what are the traumas in your life that cause you to be triggered by things that people say or do around you? And sometimes they're doing it unknowingly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes they're doing it, however,
intentionally.
Right.
Because they know it.
Right.
This is our spot.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
our spot.
yeah.
Right. And one of the things that I really believe, and we said it, I think it's just important to understand that all of us, as we look back over our lives and we think about some of the experiences we've had, it's just very important that we know when we look at how people respond to us, sometimes they're not being hysterical, they're being historical. And when you think about that, it helps you really realize, what is this coming from?
Yeah.
How many times have we had, situations that you said to me, where is this coming from?
Like,
I said,
clearly, it's not even
It's
about
not-
what we're talking
yeah,
about.
we
It's
can
clearly something
we having
deeper
a
and something
whole
else.
big fallout over turkey sausage. Like, why you didn't give me
In
turkey
real
sausage?
life,
In real
yes,
life, right?
yes.
For real life, for real. Or why ain't got no turkey sausage, right? But it's different, right? Because
And I'm like, there is no way you about to cause a divorce because of turkey sausage. What is wrong with you and what's going on? Like, what's the bottom line here? Like, what is really going on?
Yeah. Let me tell you something on the real though. She's so petty. So I had to get ahead of her pettiness because as we got through that argument and got to the conversation we gonna have today, I went on and bought some turkey sausage because this dude was about to order like
A
40
truckload.
packs of turkey and put them in the refrigerator. Like, don't say nothing else about turkey sausage.
I sure was.
That's
When he
a
walked
shame.
in with his
I was like,
bag
oh,
of
got ahead of your pettiness.
truce and had like 8 little packages of little turkey sausage. Yeah, you better have, dude.
But man, what is the argument you're having and you're sitting up saying, why are we arguing about this? It's
Mhm.
not that. It's something
It's
else.
something else.
Something traumatic that happened that triggered that.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes we don't address that. We just address the trigger and say the person's crazy. And we just kind of say,
Mhm.
you go into these different, I think rabbit holes of arguments
Mhm.
and you just end up breaking rank and just saying, you go
Right.
your way, I'm going my way until somebody comes back and says, let's have a real conversation.
Mhm.
What's really going on?
Mhm. Like frequently, when we end up talking to people, it's usually issues around, childhood
Yeah.
trauma or
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
abandonment
Yeah.
or, something that happened that was devastating regarding that person's self esteem that happened publicly as a child, or, I mean, a whole host of issues that come up. And unknowingly, someone might say something or do something, and they go into this rant or spiral without necessarily communicating the why behind the what,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that happened to us for
Oh,
years
gotcha.
until we finally were like, wait a minute, there is nothing normal or healthy about this. Like, let's go get some help. And we had to go to a couples therapist, which we were already going because
Mhm.
I don't know if you know our story, but like when we first got engaged, we committed to 2 years of therapy for our first 2 years of marriage, no matter what. And so we were going in for regular tune ups and conversations, no matter what. And then when there was something, it didn't matter because we already had the therapist scheduled on the calendar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we were doing a lot of preemptive work for our relationship, for our marriage. But there was a season we were just like, wait a minute, this is not okay. Something's got to give. And we were able to get to the bottom of it,
Yeah.
get to the
That's true.
root of the issue.
That's true. I've been leading a church for almost 34 years. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Um, it's crazy work. Uh, but if you'd asked me what is the number one, from my perspective, the
Hmm.
number one traumatic experience that triggers
Right.
people,
You would know better than I would.
you know what it is? What I found, if I would say, I'm sure most people do what I do will say it: abandonment.
That's what I said. Hmm. Yeah.
Abandonment
Yeah.
in any form of fashion, it triggers.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't here for me.
Mm-hmm.
You're not listening to me.
Mm-hmm.
You don't support me.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that I've got to do it all by myself? That goes back
That's
into
something that happened.
something that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Someone left me. I had an expectation that someone wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time I relive that, it sends me
Mm-hmm.
back to that place. And then it becomes
Yeah.
this whole thing.
And being sensitive, especially if someone had a death early on in their
Oh,
family,
gosh.
or there was a divorce that took place as a child.
Mhm.
They don't have a good relationship with their parents for whatever reason, or they had a traumatic relationship.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
frequently, that would stem from some of those scenarios, but it could be anything, right? But again, it takes communication to find out and actually being honest, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the point. A lot of people are not honest because wrapped up in that trauma is shame. And I'm not
Hmm.
a trauma specialist. That's why you should go find your trauma
Right,
specialist. But
right.
but wrapped up in that, I think is shame.
Hmm.
And I think the inability to really communicate effectively to articulate kind of what happened and how it has affected you
Hmm.
in that regard. I think you kind of learn through therapy to look at it retrospectively and say, this is
Hmm.
how it has impacted my decisions, my life, etc., and why I'm so
Yeah.
sensitive to the touch still, even today.
And I think that's important because you said you learn through therapy, because I think sometimes people are triggered and they don't they're giving this response to whatever the scenario is, but they don't recognize always that that event that happened way back when is what is causing them to trigger because of it. They just know that they get a strong emotional response to something that you say or something that you do, and they think that it's you. But when you go to therapy, you're able to begin to uncover and then make those connections and have those aha moments. And that's why I think it's so important.
As you were talking, that something dropped in my spirit. I think
And
that
I
it
saw
just,
it drop
yeah,
in your
I
spirit.
know
I
you
could
do.
see
You're
it in
telling me
your
through
eyes. Yeah.
because we're so connected like that.
Mhm.
And I want to just say this, and I think this is something like it's going to really bless some people, right? So before the trauma, God wires us a certain way. We all come to the earth with our own personality type. Some come in a little more sensitive than others. Um, some come in introvert, extrovert. It's just the
Mhm.
nature of human personality.
Mhm.
God wires us for purposes, and our character, um, you know, is not so much tied to our personality, right? I think it's just more so this is the way we're wired,
Mhm.
right? Um, Having said that, the decisions we make determine the character, not the
Will show the
personality.
character.
Yeah, but not the
Mhm.
personality, right?
Mhm.
Right? Because but here's the deal. So our children have a personality. Going on with this. Now, our son is too young, quote unquote. He's not too young to have trauma, but we want to suggest, we don't think that he's had a traumatic experience in terms of his home.
Yeah.
However, because his personality type is he's sensitive and he gets embarrassed quickly if you rebuke him in public.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
When
He's
he
very sensitive to
when
his
he
surroundings.
has a traumatic experience like being chastened in public, he shuts down.
Mhm.
And then you can misdiagnose that and assume he's no longer engaged. He's not, when in
Oh,
fact,
he can't do
he
this
can't do
time,
this, he can't do that. When in
and
fact, you have to go back and say what
what
happened.
happened? Right.
And that
Yes.
and that's
You
that
already
and
know.
that's
Yes, and
Oprah
as a
Oprah's book.
parent,
That's Brooks' book.
yeah,
Not what's wrong with you,
what
what happened to
happened?
you, and and when you think about education, you think
Yeah.
about other scenarios. You have to go back, and I think people in the school system, people who work with people every single day in
People who
whatever
work with
capacity,
children,
you
people who
have to
yes,
say to yourself, what happened to
and
this
stop being
kid?
so quick to diagnose people.
Yeah,
And understand that people are a product of their environment. And
absolutely.
if they have a certain personality and suddenly they're not acting like themselves, then by definition, something
Something
happened.
happened.
It's like the laws of inertia. Uh, an object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. So you're going to keep doing what you normally do, whether it's rolling forward or rolling backwards or rolling all over the floor, whatever, until something comes and stops you and forces you to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
And that's emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever. And so, yes, we are clearly connected because I was thinking about that this morning. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah,
yes,
and that's it.
100%.
And that's it, right? And I
Yes,
think it's children have it, adults have it,
we
we
all
all
have
have it.
it.
And there are moments, right, that I've seen you shut down, and I'm wondering, and my first thing is, what did I do?
What do I do
And
now?
sometimes
Right.
it's not even what I did. It could be something that happened. It could be
Mhm.
something that occurred or something that, someone said on the job. It just brought up all of that.
Yeah.
And the same with me. I can come home and she can notice that I'm like withdrawn and she say, "You okay?" That's
Mhm.
her. That's her going like, "Are you okay?" Because she can sense it because something happened. And then,
Mhm.
in my life, man, can imagine like the variety of different things I deal with. I'm always exposed to things that could trigger me. So I think it's important to understand that our person, God wired us for certain personalities, and at any given time, we can respond to those triggers, and you have to be sensitive when you communicate with people and talk to
Yeah.
them to really go at. She's good at this. She'll take Joseph by the hand and she'll say, "Baby, tell mommy what happened." Yeah, she won't say, "What's wrong with you? Why you not?" Baby,
Mhm.
tell me, and he'll start talking about it. He'll get emotional,
Mhm.
and then we deal with him accordingly. There were
Mhm.
times in which we would respond to him in front of people and say so and so, but now we'll pull him to the side. She'll take him even in the house. She'll take Joseph down the hall into a room by himself, and she'll talk to him. He'll come back here. He's a soldier, but if she
Mhm.
do it in front of us, oh God, it's over. So
Mhm.
that's his personality type. Whereas
Mhm.
Giovanni is completely different, right? And so I think it's just important in any relationship, whether it is, a relationship in terms of a teacher to student, supervisor to employee, husband to wife, wife to husband, parent to child, whatever it is, that you take into consideration that our personalities are wired in a certain way. And one of the things that God blessed us with, and we both say this all the time, is EQ,
Mhm.
great emotional intelligence, and everybody doesn't have that.
Everybody's
And to
not
be
blessed
willing
with
to
that.
walk into a room and evaluate that room and look at people and say, you know what, they're responding out of this. And
Mhm.
and I recognize I'm not gonna diagnose or categorize them. I understand this may be coming from somewhere much deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think it goes to um on the flip side, so that, but if you are engaging with someone and they're acting out of character, right? So let's say if you're in a relationship that's not romantic, you
Yeah.
have a friendship, and the person is not showing up for you in a way
Yeah.
that they normally would,
Yeah.
as opposed to lambasting them
Yeah.
or making them feel like, or
Mhm.
talking to people and saying they're not there for me, they're not a good friend. Why don't you be friend enough to ask them what's going
That's
on?
right. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not
That's
acting like yourself,
yourself. It's
right? As
unusual.
opposed to making negative assumptions, because I know that's happened to both you and I, where people make negative assumptions, they make up all these stories in their head and they run with them and they spread all this misinformation, not knowing what we're dealing with on the other side. But if you would have just paused and took notice that someone is not acting like themselves, there's a reason. But if you are being so self-centered, so self motivated, whatever that reason is that you can't look outward, um, you have to be able to think about the other more than you think about yourself in those kind of moments. And even if it's not wholeheartedly throwing yourself into that other person's world, but like just pause and just think for
Yeah.
a second.
Yeah.
Did something happen? I wonder if they're okay, right? Take a moment, ask. You might be right, like they might be crazy, right?
Mhm.
However,
Mhm.
if something happened, wouldn't that be a tragedy to run with this negative story, this negative narrative, not knowing the truth?
Yeah.
And I think it comes to just learning how to give people the same space and grace that you would want, right? Someone to give you, whether they know you well or not. And so, like he said, like this can be someone that you work with in the office space. This could be the woman who just yelled at you in freaking Walmart, who's
Yeah.
working behind the counter. Like, you don't know what people are going
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
Something could have just tragically happened in that person's family, and now you're trying to get the person fired because they had an attitude, but you don't know why, right? And so, just being human, being kind, being Christ-like, and just giving people the benefit of the doubt until proven otherwise, but being willing to ask questions and make the assumption that something happened, as opposed to
Man.
this has to be this person's character and they're crazy and something's wrong with them, until proven otherwise.
Yeah, that's so real. And I've been on the receiving end of that
Yeah.
numerous occasions. People have made assumptions, oh, he's this, she's that,
And you're
not
like,
knowing
someone just
somebody just
died.
died. It happened in real
Like,
time.
someone
That happened.
just
I literally got out of the car on a phone call. We were going to the mall, and somebody very close to both of us died, right? Like, a member of our church over 20 years just died. I'm like processing that, trying to be present with my wife at the mall, walking through just processing it.
like, he was
Someone,
like walking like a
a
ghost. Like, it was
zombie,
like he was present
fly
but
by.
absent. And you can
I'm
tell
trying
that
to
he was like
grieve.
trying to
Somebody
process all
walked
this.
by, spoke to me. They said I didn't speak back. I probably looked. I don't know if I spoke because I was in a gaze. Next thing I know, they sent a Facebook DM to my team about, oh, he's arrogant, and they were gonna come to your church, but they're not now because you didn't even speak to us. I'm like, wow, like, and I was like, man, people have no idea. Like,
No
this dude's, I hear
idea.
relationships. I'm like the relationship pastor, right? But I could have a moment. And I think allowing people an opportunity to have a moment.
Yeah.
Like,
Just think, like, how much stronger would our relationships be? Like, if you think, like, we all make mistakes, and I can't
yeah,
say
yeah,
that I've never done that to someone,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
I'm done.
but you learn from that, right? You realize later on, like, oh my gosh, they were really going through it. I should have been a better friend. I should
Yeah,
have been a better
yeah,
person. I should have been
yeah.
a better customer or client, like whatever that thing is. I should have
Mhm.
thought twice in that moment, right? To make sure that that person was okay, as opposed to just assuming. And it happens to all of us.
Yeah,
And because it does, like, how much better would the world be if we didn't make negative assumptions, if we removed the fear factor, if we, sat down and had, dialogue, as opposed to making assumptions about people? I think we would be living in a completely different world. Think about your relationships, think about your marriage, think about all the different arguments that you've had and then been like, I'm sorry, baby, I didn't know. Like, right.
facts.
Yeah.
That's real talk. And it seems so. When you look back on it, you're like, that was so foolish of us.
Yeah.
Like, that was so foolish in me, so foolish of us to actually, go down that their visceral road, when all we need to do is really have a conversation and really say, what's going on, what's happening, and what's must, and I think that triggers are real, guys. It's very real. And people are triggered in a variety of ways. And I think we don't often, really think about that as often as we should. But I do think that trigger is real, but trauma is real. And trouble don't last always, but trauma hangs around a lot longer. And when
Mm,
you are dealing with historical traumatic experiences, abandonment, of whatever it may be, those things can be exacerbated sometimes by the insensitivity of people who are close to you. People that are close to you, the ones who often can hurt you unaware, unless you just take them by the hand and say, "Let me tell you how that made me feel and why." And
exactly.
once you do that, I think then you give them an opportunity to make it right.
Yeah,
Right?
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, this is y'all. Listen, I hope, man, this one's real because I know that there are people watching right now and probably crying right now, probably saying, "Man, this is like so real because we do this to each other all the time." And let me just say this finally. And she hinted at the beginning of this, and I want to say this: don't weaponize these triggers. Don't weaponize somebody's trauma against them.
Yeah.
That's a cruel thing to do. You know that this is a very painful moment for them, and when you get upset, I'm just gonna say that because I'm gonna get on their skin. That's just not the thing to do because that cuts to the white meat, and
Mhm,
it's not fair in any
mhm,
kind of relationship. We have to get to a point where you know how to fight fair,
mhm.
and you have to be mindful of the rabbit hole emotionally that can send somebody down, and sometimes it can take days, weeks, sometimes even months,
Years.
years to
Yeah.
recover
Yeah.
from a whole new set of traumatic experiences
Right.
given to me by a person that I thought loved me.
Well, and you just think like, what kind of courage did it take for the person to share
Oh
the
gosh,
trauma that caused the trigger? Because that in itself
it's a whole
is a
process
whole process. And then to utilize that against
against a person.
someone
Yeah,
is something completely,
yeah.
I don't know, I would call it tragic.
Yeah,
So
it's quite tragic.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
quite
yeah, yeah.
tragic. Well, so listen, I hope you've been blessed by this one, guys. We all have historical trauma. We all have situations we deal with, but I do think it's important to have real conversations about it and to know that people are acting out in ways that may not necessarily be consistent with their character, right? They have historical issues that are creating triggers that they're emotionally responding to certain situations. So it's important not to misdiagnose it in her world, they would call make sure you triage effectively in order that you know where to place this situation so that you're not uh, making assumptions you should not. There's some good people who are entitled to bad days. And reality is, we both had those.
Yeah.
And there are moments in which we've discovered, listen, we've discovered that we were triggered in areas we didn't think we were. And sometimes that's how it happens, right? You're
Yeah.
like, I didn't realize I was still wrestling with that.
Yeah.
I didn't
Hmm.
realize I was still dealing with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was when I wrote,
Restored at the root.
it was
Yeah.
by getting to
Yeah.
the real cause, the root cause, like what that's the real that's the hard work, going to the root of it all, right?
Hmm.
And I think it's important. I encourage you to get that book. And also in chapter 10 of Pursuit of Purpose, and I wrote 735 and I was honest about, the trauma of funerals and how it affects me and how when I'm in one, how those become triggers for me. People don't realize it. I'm not after every funeral, I don't care who, I'm not well. And I recognize that and I have to have space and do it. And because of what I do and that as a profession, people think, well, that's just what he does. He says funeral, comes home, but I'm not well. And so I know that and I have to process that. And so I think look at your own life and just say, what is it that brings those things back? Share with the person that you love, and they know to give you your space. And she uses space and grace. She
Hmm.
knows he just needs a little space. He'll be all right. I know when she needs a little space, she'll be all right. And we come back together and we continue to go toward destiny another day, right? That's what it's all about. Well, hope you've been blessed by this episode, babe. Thanks for sharing. That was awesome, powerful. She's dropping that wisdom, y'all. I'm telling you, we appreciate you so much. Make sure you follow her, Dr. Steph Walker. Follow me at Joseph Walker 3. Go to our website, josephwalker3.org, and we appreciate you so much. We look forward to sharing with you on next week. Now, send those comments because we want to hear your thoughts, want to hear what you got to say, and even share suggestions with us. And then hit that share button and then share this with some folks who may need to hear it. Because I promise you, you share this link and just keep sharing it, get it out there and let it bless somebody you know, right? So I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Until next time. If you were impacted by this video, if it blessed your life, please make sure you subscribe.
And make sure you check out other videos by clicking on the screen.